So I don't know how many of you are following this whole AOC running against Jerry Conley for the House Oversight Chair. She lost, of course. Because of course, Nancy Pelosi's corrupt ass was in the background lobbying against her. No, of course it couldn't be AOC. We need 75-year-old Jerry Conley, another member of the gerontocracy, to be the head of that, even though he's also dealing with a serious disease at the present. Nancy Pelosi apparently fell and hurt her hip or some shit. What was she? Lobbying from her hospital bed? No, this is amazing, you guys. I don't give a fuck if you don't like AOC. Yes, AOC is so pathetic because she sold out for nothing. She tried to do let me play the inside game and cozy up to the establishment Democrats and Mama Bear. And what did all that selling out and capitulation to the establishment and the corporate wing of the party get her? Nothing. The fact that every time she has tried to become a chair of any committee, the corporate Democrats and Democratic leadership, all the 80-something-year-olds that run that party top down in the most undemocratic way, sabotage her. Because there's only two ways you are getting any kind of power in that party. Number one, if you're 950 years old, you're corrupt as fuck, and you've been a part of that top-down leadership since the 1940s. Or if you're one of the newer, younger corrupt people like Hakeem Jeffries, who's also willing to play ball and basically be the new incarnation of Nancy Pelosi. They were never gonna give it to you. Never. They hate you. It doesn't matter how much you try to appease them, they're always gonna hate you. And it is truly pathetic that AOC thought this was gonna work. And it's also truly pathetic that the Democrats are such fucking corrupt losers that have learned absolutely nothing from this election loss. Hear me, nothing. Zilch. They're still allowing a handful of 100-year-old corrupt assholes to control everything that happens in that party. While Republicans are training the next generation of khaki fascists to run and they are stacking their bench, Democrats are refusing to let go of their death grip on power and their hierarchical structure in the party and refusing to let anyone young, new, dynamic rise in the party. And both things can be true at once. AOC is pathetic for the way that she has capitulated when she was supposed to be a change agent, and the Democratic Party themselves are a pathetic, useless, undemocratic shell of what a party should be that have learned nothing and should be treated with the contempt that they deserve. There are people in the progressive movement saying that AOC should run for president in 2028. Are you fucking kidding me? She has already proven time and again that she is unwilling to do anything that might jeopardize her position of power. And yes, you might cite some of the things she did when she first got elected, but I remind you, that was when she first got elected. When have you seen her stand up to the Democratic establishment in the last 4 years? She should be going to war against this party. The squad should have stuck together instead of letting Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman be run out of the party and Marie Newman. They should have gone to war against the Democratic establishment the way they promised they were going to and campaigned that they were going to. And the same way that the Republicans successfully did with the Freedom Caucus. But no, she didn't do any of that, just like none of them did any of that, because she decided shortly after she got elected that it was more important to her to keep her seat and to get invited on corporate media and have the media like her than it was to fight against the machine. Because don't forget, it was AOC before she got elected, because some of us were following her before she got elected. That said, that fighting against the powers that be and fighting for justice was more important to her than keeping her seat and getting reelected in Congress. Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like that. But she has proved, just like they all have proved, that indeed keeping their seat in Congress and their access to power and being darlings of liberal media and getting invited to the cocktail parties is actually much more important to them. That's why you never heard her talk about the corruption again. When she first got into office, she was calling out the corruption. She was calling out the lobbyists. When was the last time you heard her call out their insider trading? When was the last time you heard her call out the lobbyists? Now, there are people that will say, oh, AOC was always a fraud. And honestly, we're never going to actually really know. But I tend to think that she wasn't a fraud in the beginning, that she did get elected with good intentions and then quickly decided it was going to be a lot easier for her financially and politically if she just got in line. It's also been reported that AOC said that she would not back any primary challengers to any of the Democrats should she get this position. And if that's true, that is so fucked up, because that is how AOC got elected in the first place, was by challenging an incumbent. That was quite literally the point of Justice Democrats, the organization that helped her get elected. And as if it's not already hard enough for primary challengers, the Democratic Party already works very hard to expel anyone that is progressive, keep progressives out of the party by allowing right-wingers and AIPAC and other foreign lobbies and Republican donors to spend endless amounts of money in Democratic primaries. Like, how the fuck that's even allowed and that any Democrat tolerates that is insane. Imagine Republicans allowing liberals, Democrats, progressives, leftists to spend money in their primaries. No, you can't imagine it, because it would never happen. But once again, this is just more evidence that the Democrats will never reform, have no interest in self-reflection or reforming, and they fucking hate the progressive part of the Democratic Party, and they fucking hate the left, and they hate their base. That's why they allow dark money billionaire right-wingers to spend in Democratic primaries. And that's why Mama Bear is fucking lobbying Congress with her broken ass hip at like 150 years old. But honestly, I don't feel sorry for AOC. I really don't. Because first of all, here you are selling out the movement that helped get you elected and saying that you'll never support another primary challenger again. But I'm not going to shed any proverbial tears for AOC, because this is the same person that tried to whitewash fucking Joe Biden's disgusting, filthy hands of the genocide in Gaza, and then got up on stage at the DNC and said that Kamala Harris was working tirelessly for a ceasefire when she knew that was a fucking lie. As I've said before in other videos, I was a huge proponent of the Justice Democrats and the Squad and the attempt to get a progressive left bloc in Congress to fight against the Democratic establishment in the same way that the Republicans did it. But we all saw what happened with that. As soon as they got into office, they folded like cheap lawn chairs, and every single one of them. And the entire movement and strategy failed. And the reason it failed was because they were unwilling to fight, period.